Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, Rivers Hoopers defeated at the final of this year's Premier League basketball, and coming from football, Italy edged out Spain to see the historic Davis Cup win. And in football, Arsenal extend lead on the top of the English Premier League table. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Sports Talk, and Mike is here.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Let's get started, of course, starting basketball, where it is Lagos Legends that are made winners of this year's basketball league title in Nigeria. At the weekend, they beat their title rivals, Rivers Hoopers, 74-72 in a nail-biting 2025 Final Four decider in Port Harcourt. The home fans were all stunned, same as Coach Ogo Dada of Rivers Hoopers.
I think it wasn't an impressive display, though it was more like a keenly contested encounter between the Lagos Legends and the Rivers Hoopers. But Rivers Hoopers, I think they could not hold their own, especially at the 9 minutes of that game, because it was more like a back and forth right from the get-go. Lagos Legends came out and gone blazing. Rivers Hoopers were also able to match them power for power, skills for skills, but then I think they dined the final, lap of the game. Rivers Hoopers just, let their fans down, even when they were leading 70, and they scored the last point, 72 points. When it looked as though it is something that they are going to celebrate. The Lagos Legend came back very strong. It is about 36 seconds left in the game to score that 4 points that actually gifted them that victory. And you go through the record, you discover that this Lagos Legends side, they've been improving. They've been getting the better hand of Rivers Hoopers. In their last 3 meetings right now, Rivers Hoopers were just able to win one, and Lagos Legends have won them twice. In the course of the final 8, they are the only team that were never defeated. They played unbeaten during the final 8, and they also edged past the same Rivers Hoopers, 80-79 in 1 point disparity. Now in the final, just 2 points are separate. That is to tell you how effective and how viable, vibrant, and agile the Lagos Legend team has become. And it's just quite disappointing when we're thinking that Rivers Hoopers were going to, pick the Basketball African ticket, so that at least they can give us that, solid representation, because, they bring a whole lot of experience. But then, quite disappointing, though a gallant fight, but their fight wasn't good enough.
Very poor, do I say, outing if you ask me there. But yes, they did try, but everyone expected that it was going to be a one that Rivers Hoopers can at least get a better of Lagos Legends. Like you mentioned, there are 3 times, and of course, it has always been close, so they should have known from the get-go that it wasn't going to be easy. 2 points in the Super 8, 1 point in the Super 8, and now 2 points better than the Rivers Hoopers, really very disappointed. I ask you, I picked around the camp and everybody is downtrodden because they expected to return back to the Basketball League Africa, but that did not happen. So Lagos Legends will now be representing Nigeria at the Basketball League Africa, having seen Hoopers go there twice and got as far as to the semi-final. I just hope something will be, something, at least a psychiatrist or a psychologist will have to talk to the boys because they are really down. And I'm sure the sponsors of the team, to the River State government, will be disappointed that in spite of all efforts to ensure that the team returns back to the continent, it has all now failed. Next year is yet another opportunity, but for now, Lagos Legends are the team to represent Nigeria at the Basketball League Africa. Meanwhile, Nigeria has named 12-man squad for the first window of the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers. The Tigers prepare to open their campaign on Thursday, just about 72 hours or so from now. Mike, Coach Abdul Rahman Mohamed has confirmed the roster ahead of the team's departure, with Nigeria set to begin their fixtures. I think they are in Group C, where we have Rwanda and, of course, I think Guinea in that same group.
Yeah, I think it's good for them to start preparation in earnest, but then if you take a look at how inactive the team has been in the last few months right now, I thought they should have started this early preparation, at least to put the players in order and help them to get back their form and shape in order before the final, game. I think the D Tigers, I think in the last 3 years right now, because of the leadership tussle, they have not really been the best of themselves. They've actually struggled. Our league, the male league, right here, how effective it is, because I understand some players were also drafted from the local league to add to the squad. But then I think early preparation will serve them good for them to get to understand themselves, build a very viable and competitive team before the qualifier begins. At a time where they are facing a nosedive in terms of performance, there's need for them to come back very strong, but then for Coach Abdurrahman, let's just see what he brings to the table. He has a lot of work for himself to do in terms of tinkering the team.
Qualifiers for the FIBA Basketball League for next year is on now, with a roster of 12 players known. Of the 12 players, Mike, 9 of them are foreign-based players, only 3 are home-based players.
Yeah, it's typical because we only wait for ready-made. We are all good at waiting for some of our players are doing pretty well off the shores of Nigeria or even outside the continent to make up a team. We've also noticed that almost in every of our national team, we rely majorly on foreign-based pros other than looking inward. So it is not...
Foreign-based players are better than home-based players, no doubt about it?
No doubt, and the reason is very simple. They're exposed to better facilities to train. Their league is more organized, more competitiveness, unlike here. So I think I do not really blame the coach. And as a coach of a national team, you always want to get the best, and that is why you must always go for those that have the, exposure.
Meanwhile, the qualifiers will run from November to, this year to March 2027. Yes, 2027 in March, with 16 teams that have reached the Afro Basketball Championship for 2025. We understand they are divided into 4 groups of 4 in a double round robin format, with the top 3 from each of the the group advancing to the second round. Talking about basketball, how do you not look at the NBA? And in the early hours of this morning, we saw 7 matches. Yes, 7 games decided, and all the home teams were winners. Yeah, interestingly, we saw all the other teams, 7 other teams travel poorly. In the first game, we saw Atlanta Hawks playing Charlotte Hornets. It ended 113 to a 110 points win, while Boston Celtics, playing at home, beat Orlando Magic by 138 points to 129 points. Cleveland Cavaliers, another home side, they beat LA Clippers by 120 to 105 points. Toronto Raptors wrapped it all up with Brooklyn Nets losing 119 to 109 points. Oklahoma City Thunder were very devastating. They beat Portland Trail Blazers by 132 points to 94 points. I'm hearing that someone is trying to run out of the league, but we'll confirm that for you on our program Sports Extraordinary at 6 p.m. A major basketball player is in the NBA, is retiring with his last game coming up any moment very soon. Mike, do you have any snippets of that? No?
I think that information is not clear yet. So the avoidance of wrong information, we just wait till about let's say 12 hours or 24 hours before we can fully confirm that.
Trust us to give you that information on our program Sport Extraordinary at 6 p.m. A major basketball player considering retirement from the sports are there in the NBA in the United States of America. Meanwhile, we'll continue with other stories for you on the program Sports Extra. National Sports Commission, we understand, has praised Team Nigeria's historic performances. Talking about National Sports Commission, they have been under fire for some time now. But what the Super Eagles could not do, Team Nigeria at the Riyadh Games have put some smiles on the faces of National Sports Commission with 30 medals at the weekend.
I think more like an improved performance from their last outing in 2017, where they just won few medals, not even up to 5. This time around, they were able to build on the success of the past activities by making it 30 medals in all. I think it is a bit of an improved performance though, but then vis-a-vis the final winner of the championship, who racked up about 155 medals. I mean, it's a far cry compared to the top finisher, but then I think it's a sign of positivity for it to take home. But then the disparity between the Nigerian team, who finished 8th position, and the first position is way too high. 155 against 30 medal. That is way too high for me, but then no doubt it is an improvement compared to their last outing.
Nigeria's best performances at the Islamic Games: 11 gold medals, 12 silver and 7 bronze to come second on the continent of Africa. Of course, Egypt had been better in the tournament. Well, but talking about the overall winner at the Islamic Games, Turkey had that, like you heard from Mike, with the 155 medals haul. That's quite a huge chunk as compared to Nigeria's 30 medal haul at the Games. But well, we'll say congratulations to the team, and of course, hope that they can do better next outing at the game. But the National Sports Commission is quite happy with the level they have continued at the tournament. Meanwhile, Ogun State, they have emerged overall champions of the Southwest Junior Boys and Girls Squash tournament held at the Ake Palace in Abeokuta. The young ones are really looking up to graduating better in squash from what we have seen at the weekend in Abeokuta.
I think it is what it is obtainable globally, where you give the younger ones that ladder for them to climb and get to the top level. It must start from the down before you build something positive for the top. These are the futures of tomorrow. If we get it right in the areas of squash, these are the ones that is going to project the sport and the image of the sport right here in the country in the next 5 years. If we can build it right from the scratch, give them that ladder to climb, and I think it's going to be a good one for Nigerian Squash Federation. From
squash, we will now go to tennis, and in tennis, we're looking at what the Italians have done at the Davis Cup Championship. Italy actually were crowned champions for a 3rd successive year with victory over Spain. The two teams reached the final despite absence of their bigger, let's say, respective star players. Yannick Sinner was not there, and Carlos Alcaraz not there this week. Mike?
Yeah.
This is Italy, 3 times winners consecutively at the Davis Cup.
I think their quality is never in doubt, despite the absence of their key player and the world number 2, Yannick Sinner, who is more like their marksman or their joker in that very team. His absence did not really show because they had to do their job professionally.
And of course, there's Berrettini, who beat Carrera Busta. These are established by tennis players. 6-3, 6-4 ended in that opening contest. Yes, there is no Yannick Sinner, there is no Carlos Alcaraz. You understand why they are coming off a very difficult season. But we still have some big name players left. Busta and of course Berrettini are big name players when it comes to the circuit in tennis.
Talking about big name players, I think this name has been around, but in terms of the ranking, none of them is near even top 8 as we speak presently. Although, yeah, you might say some of these names, Bellatini is a household name, but then he never make any major stride compared to Yannick Sinan. That is why some were very skeptical about the performance of in Italy. It's just that they came very strong, even when they were about to be knocked out by Argentina. You know, they had to leave it very late, courtesy of the impressive, display of December Berrettini to, stay alive. So despite the absence, like I said, of the key players for both teams, they still went on the way to the final. And as a defending champion, you expected Italy to come out very strong in that very one, which they did. I mean, they reign supreme right now as we speak in Europe. Three-time winner consecutively. I think they are doing great, and I must say very big congratulations to them. And for Spain, I think they need to try hard in order to dethrone Italy, maybe next edition.
Well, let's quickly have to wrap up this half of the show with bringing you first results from football. And of course, we look at the Premier League here in Nigeria. Of course, we'll bring you results from the other leagues as well. But for this half, it will be the Premier League here in Nigeria that entered into week 14 at the weekend. Interesting fixtures and results as well. Abia Warriors player Adumaya were forced to a goalless draw by Insurance of Benin. Mike, Imama Wapakawa is saying that yes, he has not considered goal at home, and so that is good enough to ensure that he gets results on the away ground. So far this season, he has won on the road as well.
Yeah, for Abia Warriors, I think it's been a fair start, if I must, be straightforward for them so far this season. They finished very strong last time out. That is the last season by picking Continental Sport. I think this season they are also building on the positive and the gains of last season. They are starting very fine. Though you may want to say you expected them to get all 3 points at home, but then football is about 3 results. It's either you win, you lose, or you draw. So they drop points, 2 vital points, which have also helped, the league topper, talking about Nasarawa United and even Ikorodu City, to, gain more ground against Abia Warriors. But then in all, I think it's been a good start for Abia Warriors so far this season.
Enugu Rangers played in Enugu beat Niger Tornadoes by 1-0. Kwara United were disappointing at home. They dropped 2 points because Shooting Stars forced them to a goalless draw. Nasarawa United in Lafia spanked El Kanemi Warriors by 3-0. Good result for Nasarawa United because now they return to the summit of the Premier League here in Nigeria.
Yeah, good result for them. Like I stated earlier, though temporarily they are up there until maybe the game of Ikorodu City comes alive. But then I think it's been a very positive start for Nasarawa United. Nobody painted them or pictured them in this very position even before the start of the 2025-2026 Nigerian Premier Football League season, considering how they finished last season. But then they have come out very strong so far this season with about 13 or 14 games played so far. So I think if they can hold their own, they could just be one of the title contender this season.
Remo Stars picking up the pieces, if you ask me, because they beat Barrow FC by 2-0. It looks like the 2 struggling teams in the league so far this season.
Yeah, for Remo Stars, it's been a turbulent season for them after winning the league last time out. It looks as though the center is not holding as it ought to be for the defending champion. But then, let's see, they've been able to pick up 3 points at home. Can they build on this, 3 points come next weekend? It's a very big question, but then they need to at least start picking up maximum points.
Talking about points being dropped at home, Warri Wolves were guilty of it. They dropped 2 points because Kun Khalifa played at a 1-0 draw with them at home. Same scoreline we saw between Wiki Torres and Bayelsa United. What do we make of Warri Wolves dropping points at home and losing away? And they only recently sacked their head coach. It looks like the filling coach is traveling on the same road.
It could be very difficult as a coach to, take over a team that is laden with a poor result at the start of the season. A lot of pressure comes with it, all right? And you need to also take time to infuse your own philosophy, with the players on ground. So it's going to take the new coach some bit of time for him to be able to, galvanize the team into their proper shape. It's been a very disappointing one, but then, like I said, a lot of pressure will be mounted upon the coach after letting go their former coach, bringing in a new coach, and the result is not going positive. A lot of pressure for the coach, but then it is what he signed up for. He must find a way to, fix in the team.
Warren Wolves coach definitely has to find a way to fix the team because results seem not to be coming their way. For Bayelsa United, they look to be good travelers. They were in Port Harcourt the other day and, of course, did get maximum points. Now they were in Bauchi at the weekend and were able to get 1 point from Wiki.
Yeah, for Bayelsa United, I think they just know how to travel good. It's either they draw or they win away from home. I think it's a good one for them. But beyond that, they need to also maintain their home form as well, because at their home ground, it's not been a stable result for them. It's either they win this week and they lose the next week at home. So if they can complement their efforts in the home games vis-a-vis that of the away effort, I think it's going to help them a lot.
Meanwhile, today in the Premier League here in Nigeria, Kano Pillars has a Ikorodu City to contend with. 4 p.m. Nigerian time, that fixture will come up. Same time when Katsina United will take on Enyimba International. Enyimba too, one team that has traveled poorly on the road. They had to sack their coach. Players were put on half salary. Can that help them get a result today in Lagos against a very difficult side like Ikorodu FC?
I think we'll just wait and see. This Enyimba side has been beladen with a lot of activities going on within the administrative angle, which has also reflected, has rubbed off negatively on the team itself. Prior to the start of the season, you saw the team disbanding. I mean, the management disbanding the team. Players were let go. Camp were thrown open for players to come for trials for a big team like Enyimba, and it's really affecting them. So I just hope that against Ikorodu City, that is also trying to see how to dethrone Nasarawa United, they can be able to hold their own. But then I think there is no surety of Enyimba picking up maximum 3 points. It's going to be a very tight game though, but then I see Ikorodu City taking off 3 points.
Ikorodu City looks like a team that will take maximum points against Enyimba. Very troubled Enyimba International of Abada let go of Stanley Eguma and his assistant coaches only a few days ago. I think we'll have to take a break now. When we return from a break, there will be more coming from football. Don't forget that the group stages of the CAF Champions League just got underway at the weekend, and Nigerian representative Rivers United suffered heavy loss at the weekend. Well, we'll bring you results of the other fixtures as well in the CAF Champions League. And, of course, the top leagues in Europe. Talking about top leagues in Europe and, of course, maybe some happenings across Asia as well, because Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi were on the score sheet at the weekend, same as Eberechieze. Yes, you heard me right. Eberechieze scored 3 goals, hat-trick, the first Arsenal player to score a hat-trick in a derby encounter in over 50 years. That's a record, massive record set there by Nigeria's Eberechieze. We'll get to that when we return from a break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Of course, we've told you earlier how Rivers Hoopers have disappointed at the very final of this year's basketball league because they were beaten by Lagos Legends, who will now have the sole ticket of representing Nigeria at the Basketball League Africa. And talking about Rivers at the weekend, football side as well had some issues, if you ask me, because Rivers United were beaten by 3-0 by defending champions of the CAF Champions League, Pyramids of Egypt. In Egypt at the weekend, first half ended goalless. It looks like the team collapsed in the second half, and Tefa scored a hat-trick against the Rivers United side at the June 30th Stadium in Cairo, Egypt. Mike, one would have expected that they haven't had all of the 45 minutes on a clean slate. Rivers United were at least going to reduce the scoreline at the last 45 minutes of the encounter.
Goal scoring has been the major problem of Rivers United, both home and away, and even continentally. And this dated back since last season. I was speaking with the media officer of Rivers United, talking about Charles Mayuko regarding this. I told him that he should reach out to the coach, tell him to find a way to solve the goal scoring problem within that team, because that is their major problem. You cannot win games if you can't score goals. I heard him after the draw was made, just a few hours after that draw was made, when he was talking about their area of stronger advantage. He talked about defense when he said that if when they go out, they rather to defend very good, that they can come out with positive result. I said, no, you can't be building your confidence and trust only on the defense line of a team. You don't win games by defending, just defending without scoring. So I think that is a big problem. They were able to hold the defending champion, Pyramid, to goalless draw in the first half. Second half, I thought maybe at least they should have adventured a little bit to try and get a goal, or probably hold their own to see off the game in draws, but then they capitulated devastating manner in the second half, allowing a single player to score a hat-trick, and that is to tell you the level of the defensive collapse within Rivers. Disappointing one, but then I think the damage has been done. I think the next line of action is to regroup themselves and focus for the return match against RS Bakene right here.
RS Bakene coming to Port Harcourt, Nigeria this weekend, on Friday to be specific. They will be in Uyo against Rivers United. But talking about Bakene, at the weekend, they beat Power Dynamos of Zimbabwe by 3 on-reply goals. And it means that in that group, there are two teams now, Pyramid and Bakene leading with 3 goals on their side. And Power Dynamos and Rivers United with the -3. And of course, we'll have to see from where they go. Meanwhile, in other fixtures at the weekend, we saw Young Africans of Tanzania beat their counterparts from Morocco far by 1-0. Ahly of Egypt, 4-1, better than JS Kabylie of Algeria in the other fixture in the group stage of the CAF Champions League. Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa beat Pienpopo by 3-1. Esperance and Stade Malien played out a goalless draw. Esperance of Tunisia, former champions, dropping 2 points at home there.
Yeah, against Stade Malien, who also a traditional team in the CAF Champions League. But then one should have expected Esperance of Tunisia, going by their pedigree and their home advantage, to get all 3 points. But then it is football for you. Football is also evolving in Africa, so I think it's one of those things that happens in football.
Football evolving in Africa, but the North African teams are doing better.
Definitely they are doing better compared to the West Africa. Then you talk about Central Africa Republic. I think the teams that are really lagging behind in terms of football development and advancement right here in the continent of Africa is basically the West African region. I mean, compared to what North Africa, then South African are doing, I think it's a far cry compared to what we are doing right here in West Africa. We need to, of course, brace up.
Well, in the other final fixture we saw at the weekend in the CAF Champions League, Simba playing at home were beaten by Petro Atletico of Angola by 1-0. Simba of Tanzania dropping points and of losing their first game at the CAF Champions League.
Yeah, a good one for them. A very bad result, at home, being beaten, and it doesn't speak good of them. But then maybe they just wait and prepare for their away game. But if you can't get maximum points at home, what is the hope that you are going to even win away from home? That is a very big challenge. But then wait and see. Football is not really judged on paper. Sometimes you lose at home, but you go away to win. So we just wait.
Meanwhile, there were matches played in the CAF Confederations Cup as well, group stage, and we'll bring you all of those results on our program Sports Extraordinary at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. That we brought you all of the results in the CAF Champions League here, and but in the evening at 6 p.m. we'll bring you all of the results played in the CAF Confederations Cup as well. Let's quickly now go across to Europe, and of course our first stop in Europe will be in the Premier League in England, where we saw interesting results at the weekend. Leeds playing at home dropped 2 points. Aston Villa benefiting by 2-1 there. And then we saw Burnley being thoroughly beaten by Chelsea in the inside of their own stadium. Chelsea traveling to Burnley to beat them by 2-0. It was 2-2 between Bournemouth and Bayern and West Ham. Brighton playing at home beat Brentford by 2-1. Fulham were 1 goal better than Sunderland. Liverpool disappointed their fans at home at Anfield. They were completely torn to shreds by Nottingham Forest, who beat them by 3-0. Wolves lost at home to Crystal Palace. But first, let's look at the Liverpool encounter, Mike. Liverpool not just losing, but losing by as many as 3 goals at Anfield. This is their 5th loss this season. It looks very strange that the season is just barely coming to halfway, and Liverpool has lost 5 matches already.
I think the Reds and their fans will not be very, very happy this time, considering how poor they have started the league. It's quite disappointing against Nottingham Forest that have been very poor so far this season. Being beaten at home, 3 on reply goal, I think it doesn't speak good of Liverpool. And Slot needs to find a way to fix that team.
Isaac, it's still disappointing.
I think Isaac, the confusion or the controversy en route to him departing the Magpies has really affected his game so far. He has found it very difficult to slot in, effectively at the Liverpool side.
The highest paid player in the Premier League in England, still not yet paying back all of the monies which he's been earning in the last few weeks. Talking about the Magpies reminds me, Newcastle playing at home beat Manchester City by 2-1. Manchester City dropping points as well. Pep Guardiola had earlier told us how the season would start with the first game after the international break. He has lost 2 points now. Haaland was not on the score sheet at the weekend. No Haaland, no Manchester City.
And it is very, very dangerous when you rely on one player in a team to make the difference. And from stats and evaluation of Manchester City games so far this season, whenever Erling Haaland is not on the score sheet, Manchester City find it very difficult to win games, and it is not good for a team to rely on one player. Manchester
City, Pep Guardiola needs to find an option, a team option B, if you ask me. Without Haaland, there should be a way of scoring goals for the team. Meanwhile, the biggest result at the weekend in the Premier League was the encounter at the Emirates Stadium, where Arsenal were hosts to a very stubborn side, if you ask me, and that they were able to take out their neighbors, Tottenham Hotspur, by 4-0. And one man that had, dare I say, hug the headlines was the man of the match, Eberechi Eze of Nigeria, of course, and England, did score 3 goals in that fixture. In the last 54 years, we've never seen an Arsenal player, not even in the days of Thierry Henry, scoring a hat-trick against a not London neighbor, the Tottenham Hotspur. But for the first time in 54 years, Eberechi Eze, the man on your screen there, scored 3 goals, and it's clearly better than, if you ask me, in this encounter, not London derby. Legendary Thierry Henry.
Yeah, it's a good performance from him, but then consistency is one thing that matters. You don't just score hat-trick and you think you've become a king. You need to replicate that over and over again.
This is the first hat-trick Eberechi Eze is scoring in his football career.
And that is how good he was on a day where nobody expected him. I think he had a point to prove before.
He was almost a Torre Hotspur player. And surprisingly, when he switched on the final day, do I say, to Arsenal, the coach of Torre Hotspur was like, who is Eberechi Eze? Was that an answer to coach of Torre Hotspur?
That was just what I was about, saying that maybe it was a fine way to respond back to the press statement of the Tottenham coach Thomas Frank, who queried about who Eze was. I think he's been able to get a glimpse of who
now he knows who it is. Well, let's quickly leave the Premiership and go to the La Liga in Spain. There were some interesting results as well. Oviedo dropped points at home, Vallecano benefiting with 1 point there, he ended goalless. Betis Girona ended 1-1, while Getafe lost at home. Atletico Madrid beating them by 1-0. The encounter between Elche and Real Madrid ended 2-2. Deportivo Alaves lost at home. Celta Vigo beating them by 1-0. Barcelona were in no mercy form at all. They beat the Athletic Club by Bilbao by 4-0. It looks like Barcelona now extending, they're catching up with Real Madrid. Haven't seen Madrid drop points, Mike?
Definitely, no doubts. No thanks to Madrid, inconsistent performance yesterday against Alaves that was supposedly to be the whooping team in that very game yesterday. But then they were stunned in the first half by Alaves before they had to rally back to draw a level. Alaves now took the lead in the dying minute, 80-something minute. I thought it was over, but for Madrid, playing away from home, they had to rally back in that very one to pick up at least that 1 point.
Well, let's quickly look at the other results. Osasuna beating at home. Real Sociedad beat them by 3-1. Villarreal beat Mallorca by 2-1. Valencia narrowly edged Levante by 1-0. In the German Bundesliga, it looks like there's no stopping Bayern Munich. But first, let's bring you some other results. RB Leipzig beat Werder Bremen by 2-0. Union Berlin were 1 goal better. A away scoreline for against Sampoli. Augsburg beat Hamburg by 1-0. Bayern Munich 6.
No defeat. It's a very intimidating record that Vincent Kompany is building. Even when they went down 2-0 in that game, they had to come back in a similar fashion that we've seen of them this season, even as they build up.
Nothing. Wolfsburg were beaten at home by Bayer Leverkusen 3-1. It ended. RFC Cologne beat Eintracht Frankfurt, lost at home. Eintracht Frankfurt beating them by 4-2. Lost at home. Parma beating them by 2-1. Cremonese lost at home as well. Roma benefiting with 3-1 win. Lazio beat Lecce by 2-0. Inter Milan lost at home. AC Milan beating them
of the derby clash between them and Inter Milan. I think for long Inter has dominated, but you look as though AC Milan is back to doing what they know how to do.
Fiorentina were forced to a 1-0 draw by FC Juventus, and Napoli spanked Atalanta by 3-1. And one man from Nigeria was at the center of a controversy again.
For Lukman Ademola, I think he just needs to watch it, because you can't, be allowing yourself to be entangled with a lot of controversial issues here and there from one coach to another. It doesn't really speak good of his career.
Well, he seems to be having some criticisms from his coach, and I trust Ademola Lookman. He never gets tired of replying whoever is somehow not satisfied with his performances. But again, he has to evaluate himself. He's not playing well, if you ask me, both for the national team of Nigeria and for his club side, Atalanta, out there in Italy. Let's now go to France. And in France, Auxerre were forced to a goalless draw by Lyon, while Metz lost because Brest beat them by 3-2. It was 1-1 between Nantes and Lorraine. Toulouse lost at home. Angers beating them by 1-0. Lille beat Paris FC by 4-2. Lens beat Strasbourg by 1-0. The encounter between Rennes and AS Monaco ended 4-1 in favor of the home side Rennes. Paris Saint-Germain continued to show their quality by beating Le Havre by 3-0. FC Marseille, with the highest scorer in the French La Liga, Ligue 1, beating Nice by 5-1. 5 goals away, 5 goals scored by an away team against Nice there.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and of course Greenwood continue to shoulder the burden of the team. Aubameyang at 36 is still firing from all cylinders. What a great striker, because these two scored brace each for that game. I think it was an impressive display from Marseille. Something
happened in the French league at the weekend. Paul Pogba, remember him? Yes, he made his first professional appearance in more than 2 years, coming off the bench during the Monaco 4-1 loss to Rennes. What is he looking for, if you ask me?
We try to recover back some of the financial losses, being away from the game for about 19 good months. I mean, sometime he began to cry about the financial situation. And of course, some family and friends had to desert him when he was actually entangled with that, doping ban. And there is a lesson for him and other players as well, that he must stick with the rules of the game.
Talking about Paul Pogba, was earlier banned for 4 years for doping offenses, but he was reduced to 19 months. And after 891 days, he is now getting ready to see how to play football again, if you ask me. Tonight, across Europe, attention will be on the encounter between Manchester United and Everton. Manchester United, are they resurging, or they will just get back to their old ways, if you ask me?
Yeah, it's a very big...
Everton is their fixture. They are playing at Old Trafford.
Yeah, Everton is a very strong and a very stubborn team, especially when they come up against some of these big teams. Old Trafford has been desecrated. There's no fear factor there.
Everton, you think they're in best of form as well?
Everton, they've been doing good, especially when it has to do with a big team as well. But then, for the home advantage and for what Manchester United might be chasing, maybe to finishing within the UEFA Champions League spot, I tip them to at least get all 3 points tonight.
Still tonight, across Europe, Espanyol will be taking on Sevilla in the Spanish La Liga. Then in Italian Serie A, Torino will take on Como. Yes, talking about Como reminds me of Fabregas, the coach of the side. Sassuolo will be up against Pisa 2 at about 8:45 p.m. Nigerian time. That will be the much we can take on this edition of Sports Talk. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Nigerian time with comprehensive results, especially in the CAF Confederations Cup and in some of the top happening. But just before we wrap up, Mike, Lionel Messi on the score sheet for his team last night. Same thing with Cristiano Ronaldo. These two can't stop scoring, one in America and the other in faraway Asia.
I think they are giving their best, for the last, because just few years or months right now we'll be seeing these, greater players, hanging their boot, and they must give their last to their fans out there. It was a great weekend for the two stars, especially for CR7. You had to see that
bicycle kick. Whoa!
It was more like a bicycle kick of an 18-year-old player, so he continued to make his mark.
Talking about bicycle kick coming from a player that is almost getting to 40 years. It doesn't come easy. It's not a common scene in the football venues. And of course, for Lionel Messi, he scored 1 goal, and of course, he did make 3 assists as his team did advance out there in the United States of America. And that will be it for this edition of Sports Talk. We'll return back at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.